Hello, this is Olimxon Tashxodjaev. Now I'm going to present about Volkswagen's crisis communication. Well, introduction. Well, Volkswagen, the leading European auto manufacturer based in Wolfsburg, Germany, is facing the biggest and most complicated scandal of its entire history. Full history, yeah. The so-called Dieselgate, the second name, which exploded on September 2015, gained worldwide media attention, and the cost and the consequences for the company, both in the short and in long term, are today difficult to foresee. This shocking business crisis is the starting point for the development of this master thesis. A lot of marketing experts, public relations, and business researchers started to analyze the scandal along different perspectives, giving a significant contribution to the discipline of crisis management. Well, from this point, what I want to study in this final thesis is the increasing importance that social media like Twitter today have for organizations in the management of crises. The aim is to identify the opportunities and the best practices to face a negative event, but also to understand how the bad management of critical situation can deeply damage a company and its online reputation above on social media. Well, well what they did right and what they did wrong. Let's first just talk about what they did right. Well, Volkswagen USA stopped marketing posts to Facebook and Twitter on September 18, 2015, the day the emissions scandal broke in the US. This is their advantage. Yeah, and also the second is they created a subsite, as you can see in the link there. Provide information and address concerns and allow customers to contact them. Yeah, and what they did wrong. First thing that they did wrong is they had a limited engagement with customers. Well, Volkswagen, UK, Twitter, and Facebook directed customers to Volkswagen news pages which had a scant information. Yeah. And next one thing they did is they were not transparent. Customers and investors have complained about a lack of clarity over which models are affected as well as just what company fixes will involve. Yeah. And the last mistake they did is they didn't acknowledge the issue in a timely manner, which means social accounts remained dark for a week until they acknowledged the scandal by posting a statement from US CEO Michael Horn. The lag time allowed the issue to largely to be defined by outsiders and the media without any input from Volkswagen. Well, next. Web reputation, social media. A review of the way that Volkswagen has handled the public and crisis communication showed it to be a comedy of errors, with the automotive giant making mistake after mistake. Perhaps this is not surprising since some of the very executives involved in the scandal were at the helm during some of the company's major errors that inflicted reputational damage around the world. Well, Volkswagen's 3 years of scandal and reputational damage started with the failing to communicate how the company was fixing the damage with the structural and cultural changes necessary to make sure something similar never happened again. Well, about the scandal. No one wants a scandal. However, once it arrives, you've got to be sharp and take the necessary steps to end it. If wrongs were committed, then they need to be admitted and corrected. If laws were broken, then the company needs to be fully cooperate with authorities. Yeah, frequently it's necessary to put an untainted leadership team in place to lead the company to safer ground. A primary goal of that team is to begin a rebuild the company's reputation through effective crisis communication. Well, without an adequate crisis strategy in place, the company lost ground in trying to size that initiative of the escalating story. This shortcoming was exacerbated by subsequent blunders. As the Winterkorn was leaving, he told reporters that I'm not aware of any wrongdoing on my part, despite internal documents later suggesting he may have been aware of the issue as early as May 2014. Such errors compounded the sense that Volkswagen's leadership had failed to get a handle on the issues, an impression that undermined consumer, investor, and public confidence in the brand. Clearly, with the arrest of Audi's Robert Stadler, it's clear that management has never come to grips with the scandal or how to communicate it with the stakeholders, regulators, and the public. This poorly coordinated and careless episode underlines the importance of any and consistent approach to ensure a communication strategy that produces real results. Next one. What could the company have done differently? Well, Volkswagen needed to fully grasp the opportunity the crisis provided. The initial scandal associated the company with dishonesty and deceit. Recovery would be defined by effectively rebutting these negative characteristics. Volkswagen had the ideal situation to demonstrate a change in mentality by projecting a commitment to proactive in response to the crisis, simultaneously boosting faith among consumers and investors alike. They betrayed customers' confidence by deceiving them and cutting corners when they should have gone the extra mile to make amends. Releasing as much information as possible in clear, accessible way would have been a start. It's essential to ensure that all relevant interests are fully informed on what they need to know and what they need to do. Well, it means that communication behavior in Twitter. Well, in this study that we investigate the communication behavior in Twitter during the rise of corporate crisis. In September 2015, the emissions scandal of Volkswagen, also known as the told before Dieselgate, became public. I collected Twitter data and analyzed approximately 4,000 tweets regarding the Volkswagen crisis. I take different perspectives on the data by separating the overall communication in peak and quit phases. Second is analyzing the sentiment in each phases. Third is looking at specific tweets contents. And the last one is using statistical analysis to determine the significance of differences. Yeah. Furthermore, I noted that publishing behavior of official Volkswagen accounts, this situation creates communication theory. The finding suggests that Volkswagen followed a strategy that is not covered by crisis communication theory. However, Volkswagen's tweets were not able to reduce the emotionality and sentiment of ongoing theory discussion. Instead, even during quiet phases, the communication remained rather negative. Well, to conclude, this analysis is useful in understanding how a crisis situation and its bad management can affect the most important asset of a company, its reputation. For this reason, the continuous monitoring and engagement on the web, on the social media, is essential part to have an applicable estimation of the opinions of the stakeholders and to be ready to respond on these channels during negative events. Well, the scandals that hit Volkswagen was a very interesting case study to analyze within a discipline of crisis management. The Dieselgate, one of the most relevant and expensive business crisis ever, was not a normal crisis because it had an unprecedented global scope as well as a very high relevance on the web. In such a wide and articulate discipline as crisis management is, I decided to focus the study on the increasingly crucial role of social media in crisis situations. By presenting the Volkswagen's emissions issue, I monitored in detail the response of the company to the crisis. Above all on social media, and I analyzed how this scandal affected the bad reputation of the firm on Twitter in the weeks following the public announcement. That's all. Thank you for attention.